Alright, so this video is going to show you how to install CUDA onto Manjaro. I've also installed CUDA onto Windows 10 using Visual Studio and also Ubuntu. Out of the three, actually, I think installing it on Manjaro is the easiest. Although there's one complication that I'll get into a bit later. But basically, if you want an easy install of CUDA and you want to be up and running doing stuff, the best thing honestly right now that I've experienced is Manjaro. So the first thing you want to do, as always, because this is basically a fresh install of Manjaro, so Control-Alt-T opens the terminal or the console, and you want to type in there. The first thing you always want to do is sudo pacman. So sudo gives you administrative privileges. Pacman is your package manager, sort of like an app store, like a text-based app store. And then the option you want to put with pacman, in this case, if you want to update it, its files, its file list and all that, is that you can do SYU. So what that does is it updates it. But if it's already up to date, it won't download anything. If you want it to force it to download, even if it thinks it's up to date, like just to make sure, you can add an extra Y in there. I think they frown upon that just because it's a waste of bandwidth. But anyways, just to make sure in this example that I'm up to date, I'll use it in this case. But usually I don't. Okay, so this will just synchronize the package database. So the next thing we want to make sure is so when I originally installed Manjaro, which was just a couple minutes ago, I made sure to choose non-free for the drivers option, and I believe that automatically installs the NVIDIA driver, but we could also try sudo pacman for the package manager. -S means to install. We just type NVIDIA. Then it will, I believe this installs the driver because this is the driver version, I believe is right here. So type yes on there. We can also confirm that the driver is installed properly. But so when I was originally installing this, what I did was I went onto the internet and I just searched in Manjaro CUDA. And I clicked on this one by Dr. Joe Logan. And what he's doing is he's installing a bunch of stuff, including TensorFlow and all this. All I really want to do is install CUDA, right? So anyways, he suggests this command for installing your driver. So I guess we could try it out. So it looks like it says it's skipping because we already have it installed. Okay, good. The next thing he recommends is this thing here to double check that the correct driver's in. So all you're looking for is, I don't know where that disappeared to, but anyways, all you're looking for here is basically to make sure it's the most recent NVIDIA driver released and that your graphic card that you have installed in your computer is showing up on this command. So just scroll up to here, driver version, and this is the newest driver. If you go to NVIDIA's website, I believe that is the newest one. And also, this is my video card. You can double check that your video card is compatible, but basically any NVIDIA card made in the last couple of years is definitely going to be compatible because they all have CUDA cores, as far as I know. So the next thing he does is this big long command here. Well, it's not that long to be honest. But anyways, all we're going to do is copy up to here because this installs CUDA. And then if you add this space and this extra stuff, that installs this other thing, which I think has something to do with neural networks, although I haven't used it, so I'm not sure. So anyways, we're just going to take this part because this is to give you root privileges, and then this is your package manager. This option means install, and this is the software we're interested in installing. So just copy and paste that into your terminal. And then put your password in, of course. Now it's going to be over a gigabyte, so it's going to take a while. So after I start this, I'm just going to go and then I'll come back because my internet's quite slow. It's going to take like 20 minutes probably. So I'll be back in a bit. Alright, so now this has finished installing. CUDA should be ready to go. Now the next things most guides will say, even the official guide from NVIDIA, will be like, oh, what you should do now is, and this is where I said at the beginning, there's just one complication. The complication comes from testing the samples. So like NVIDIA packages with the CUDA tool set in the program and all that, they package these samples, which are actually pretty cool. I tried them, I ran them on Windows and Ubuntu, and it actually, they ran a lot better, at least for me, on Ubuntu than on Windows. Maybe that's one advantage of using Ubuntu, I'm not sure, or Linux in general. But if you try, so what this guy's doing is basically, I believe he's just copying the samples from the CUDA folder into the main home folder, and then he's making it. So the other thing we could do is to just go, okay, hold on. We'll go to where he's at. So he's at opt, so that's inside opt, which would be here, and then CUDA, and then samples. So how it works is that basically the make file, which is this file here, contains a bunch of commands in order to compile the program. So it's basically like you write this file once, and then if you want to compile, you just type in make in the terminal, and it automatically does these things in order. That way, like if you have a whole bunch of files and they all need to be compiled, then like it will take so long to do that all in the terminal by hand. Like to type in all these things by hand, it would take so long. So the purpose of the make file is to basically automate that. So in order to run the make file, and this is where the problem is, the only problem that I found in Manjaro is in the samples. Like basically these samples won't work. And at first when I was trying this, I thought it was my fault that it wasn't working, and that's where I was confused. But actually if you pay attention closely, and I'll type in, so I'm just opening a terminal inside this window so that I don't have to CD to it. So anyways, all you need to do to run that make file to start the compile it is just type in make inside the samples folder. So when I do that, it says if you pay attention closely, the NVCC, which is like the thing that NVIDIA gives you to help compile the code, it says it can't find it here. Well, yeah, obviously it can't find it there. The reason why is because it's not there. It's instead, it's I believe it's, let's see, I believe it's in opt CUDA bin, and then you'll see NVCC is right here. So like obviously that's totally different than this. So yeah, the make files and the samples unfortunately don't work on Manjaro. So like since I've already seen them, I don't really care. But if you haven't seen them before, they're kind of cool to play with, so, and to learn from. But I'll show you that it does work. So in order to show you that, I'll just go to, I have these files I already created here inside my C programs folder. So all I made here was a basic, hello world. I didn't even put a new line on it. But anyways, it's just hello world. And that's it. So that's your C++. And then my make file. It's really basic. But okay, so you see like the difference here is like, okay, so like where I'm putting NVCC is different. So like actually if I copied the, okay, wait, if I copied this like this, and then like so I'm just using a text editor, by the way. The one that comes with Manjaro is Kate. You can also use Vim or whatever you like. It doesn't matter. It's just like any other time you're programming. I don't mind Kate. I usually use Vim, but I'm kind of liking Kate too. Anyway, so if I put where the sample sample CUDA samples thinks the NVCC is, if I put that path into my own program that I made here and save it, right? And then I'm going to close this, and I'm going to open another, terminal here. Okay, and then so I'm already CD'd into this folder, right? C programs, and I type make, right? So then I get the exact same error that I got on the sample files. That at first confused me so much, because when I was working on Ubuntu, it was in the right place. So I was like, why is this not working? Like, I thought I did something wrong at first. Then I realized that it's installed into a different folder for some reason. Anyways, I'm sure there's a good reason for that. I just don't know what it is. So in order to fix that, make sure when you're making your make files, okay, you don't use like this path. You erase the user and the local. You just type in OPT, and that should be the correct path. So just save that, and then open your terminal in your folder. So let me just type my password in here again. So if I type make now, it should work. So exactly, so here's the exe that it made. So basically that's what make files do. So what it did was it just ran the NVCC with these options on, and then this was the the input, and then this is the output for compiling it. So basically it just like, this is just will basically automate this and type it out every time. If you have a huge amount of files, you don't want to be typing all these options for like every single file. That's what makes make files so useful, is that like there's a whole bunch of information you can find on these too, right? Like there's so many options and so many things, and make files is a whole thing on itself, and I'm sure you can find a lot of information on it. Just if you're not used to make files, that's what they're basically for, just to help you compile. It's not too hard to do a basic one like this. It's pretty easy actually. So anyways, so now if I, just to double check that we got a working program here, just to prove that it does work, let's just run the main.exe. So I'm going to open up another terminal in this folder. Okay, and then here's the proof. To run a program in Linux, you always type the period and then the slash, and then you type the name of the program. So in this case, it's going to be main.exe. Here we go. It worked. So hello world. That's all the program was doing. It doesn't make a new line because I didn't tell it to. If you look at the code, just hello world, that's it. So perfect. It works. Now, the reason why it doesn't work with the samples again is just because it has the wrong path. For whatever reason, they didn't put the right path in. So either you got to change that path, or you got to fix the make file, or I'm not exactly sure. I don't really care because I've already seen all the samples, and I'm not really going to try to fix it because like it doesn't really interest me. But I'm sure there's a way to fix it, and maybe someone's already figured it out. I'm sure it's like pretty easy actually. So anyways, this is like basically like a complete beginner's guide to setting this stuff up, and like the confusing parts for like someone who's not really familiar with Manjaro or CUDA C. So yeah, it's actually pretty easy and pretty straightforward. It's much easier than Windows and Ubuntu, and the only thing that confused me is why the samples weren't working at first. But basically, yeah, the reason why is because the path is wrong. But so long as you change the path in your own make files to be the correct path, the OPT path, then you're good to go. You shouldn't have anything to worry about. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to talk about. I hope this helped, and thanks for watching my video. Right, see ya.